the people in this retreat invited you because they wouldn't have invited you unless they felt like they were safe with you. And they're surprisingly excited to see you, and I'll explain why in a minute. Um, Part of what I want to do right now is calm any fears, any concerns, any considerations you have about this, because I know that you don't need to be into this stuff. You don't need to believe in this stuff in order to celebrate your loved ones. But I want to calm some fears. People sometimes think that if it's about personal development, that there's confrontation involved. You know, people are going to be pointing out what's wrong with you and all that kind of stuff. And the truth is, in my work, there's not an ounce of confrontation ever. Also, people never have to do anything. There's no pressure to participate. I actually spend some time at the beginning of most of my workshops saying, look, don't pressure yourself to participate. Soon enough, it'll be too much fun not to participate. And when it's too much fun not to, then let yourself participate. Until then, don't worry about it. Don't concern yourself with it. So, it's not a cult, it's not a religion, although it does support anybody's faith, no matter what their faith is. And it's not about, twisting people's arm into doing anything at all. What it is going through experiences and processes where I think I'll share an experience. One time when I was working with some of the world's greatest therapists, I had this revelation that kind of changed my work 180 degrees. Back in the early 70s, most of this work was confrontation. And it had a flavor like, take responsibility for your life. And so I was working with these therapists, and I had this revelation where I saw that this woman was having a hard time talking about what she thought was one of her big hang-ups. I think it was being overly critical. And I suddenly realized that what she thought was one of her biggest hang-ups was actually her greatest gift, strength, and talent. But the reason why she was at times overly critical was because she was so sensitive. She was so tender. She had such a big heart. And in that moment, I suddenly saw that human beings do not have hang-ups. They have gifts and strengths and talents. Everything that people call a hang-up, anxiety, depression, criticism, being overweight, whatever it is, whatever they judge themselves for is actually a great gift, strength, or talent in disguise. When imagine that you're a child and you've got these beams of light sticking out from you, which are your gifts and strengths and talents, and the world tends to slap down the biggest ones first. And that energy has to go in the opposite direction. And that's what we call shortcomings or hang-ups. So after I had that experience, what I decided to do was an experiment to see what would happen if I just showered people in what's right about them. So in my workshops, what I do is I have people talk about their favorite music, their favorite heroes, their peak experiences, their strengths. We do strength showers where people acknowledge each other's strengths, gifts, and talents. And it turns out that after enough of showering people in what's right about them, I found that I could actually have a much bigger effect on people, healing people, empowering people, helping people to get out of their own way so they could do their dreams, so they could basically show up and shine and be a gift. And we've got, lots of success stories with that. So, this retreat, which has 2 phases, right now we've got done with the second phase. We've been sharing things that we love. We've been sharing our personal battles with each other, our joys, our fears, letting go of doubts and obstacles, and it's quite an adventure. And we've been dealing with issues that are at the very heart of the human spirit and watching our obstacles dissolve. And what's left over is the brilliance of our love. And people seeing how good they are and the gift that each person is. So one of the side effects of that whole process, it's really cute because at the beginning of the retreat, I can ask somebody, so you have a good relationship with your dad? You know, yeah, dad's okay, you know. And somewhere near the end of the retreat, if I say, tell me about your dad, the same person will get really choked up. Say, I never realized what a hero he was to me. Because as they, you know, as they let go of their doubts and their fears and they blossom, they start to realize how much people mean to them. So it's a little bit like they've gone on a cruise for a couple of years and now they're coming home. And they would like certain people to be there on the shore when they get welcomed. And that's you people. So I want you to know that nobody has to do anything or say anything. Our version of a graduation ceremony is to basically acknowledge each other. So they're going to acknowledge each other. You know, they're going to acknowledge what they love about each other. It's a really sweet process. And none of you are expected to participate at all. But I want you to know that if at some point you feel like you'd like to, you're more than welcome to. You're not inhibited from participating. Okay? And again, only as soon as you feel comfortable. If by chance you decide you want to acknowledge somebody, then I just ask that you acknowledge one or two people at a time, like either a person or a couple at a time. Okay? That'll help us out. And they're going to do the same thing. So I'd like you to do me a big favor. Did we ever find this lecture? No. Do me a big favor when I bring them in the door. You know, they're nervous. They've been, you know, kind of vulnerable this week, and now they think they're going to be in front of a big crowd. I'll tell them it's a smaller crowd this time. It's intimate. So when they come in the door, do me a big favor and just give them a standing ovation to make them feel a little more comfortable, so there's no worrying. Okay? I appreciate it. Yeah.
Do you want to ask people to turn off their phones?
Yeah, good idea. Let's everybody turn off our phones. Okay, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Let's put music on the music. Oh. What do you have for when they come in the door? What's the setup page say? Just put on random make believe when they come in the door. And look up your setup page because there's going to be another song during the process. I only say that to free myself. We have to wrap it out. So to you under the bus. I can't talk now.
He said random making.
Yes. Better hurry.
I have it.
Okay.
Thanks anyway.
Same.
Support.
Give me time, pal. Anybody old, man?
should stop it. Maybe we should stop it.
Stop